Hi everyone, welcome back to my video on this is part 2 of our frame build for our Western Star 5700 Legacy Edition. And before we get started with this video, I'd like to let you guys in on something that I figured out, and this concerns my last video with stretching the frame. And what I've learned is there's a much easier way to stretch this frame. And if I'll bring back the original frame and I highlight it, you can select N on your keypad and it'll bring out this little side window. And if you will look down under dimensions, you have a Y dimension, and right now it's showing that this frame, let me select this different frame here. This frame here is 33.1 feet long in the Y direction. So in order to lengthen this frame up, the only thing you would need to do is make sure it's highlighted, and then on the Y axis, just click on it, and you can make it any length you want. And what I was looking for is 37.75 feet long. So I'll just put in 37.75 and hit enter. And now the frame is stretched exactly 37.75 feet. And that's certainly a lot easier than trying to scale and remeasure and scale and remeasure. So that's a whole easier way of doing it. So I'll undo that one right now because I need this frame to be our stock size so I know where to put our frame parts. So let me undo that last thing, and now our original frame length of 33.1 feet is back. So I'll hide that, and then under our root object truck legacy or leg, we'll uh, we'll turn our 37.7 feet long frame on, and you can see I have already changed mine. The Y dimension is 37.7 feet. So this is the length of the frame that I want. Okay, now I posted on my Facebook group a file that contains a lot of frame parts, and to open those frame parts, just open another Blender window, and then once it loads up, you can just open up that file that I posted on the Facebook page. And I think this is the one here. No, that's the wrong file. So let's try this one more time. There we go. All right, so this should have been the file that that I posted on my Facebook page. So if we hide the frame, we can see we're left with a bunch of different parts that we need to put on that frame. We got a steering box, some isolators, some cross members, and these are tank holders. So all these needs to be placed on our stretched frame. And since we lengthened the frame out, some of these parts will have to be repositioned to match our new stretch frame. So to get these into our other file, it's really not that hard. You just select the parts that you want to copy. In this case, these are frame parts. We'll highlight that and just right click and hit copy. Then go back to your frame And then you just come over here and you can select paste, and now you have your frame parts. And notice that they are attached to the frame and pretty much the location that you want. Now we'll have to move some of these when we get our tanks in to match the cab body, but the steering box should be correct. And these parts back here we will have to move so that they match. So in order to do that, what we need to do is bring back our original frame for these cross braces here and these mounts. We'll bring back the original frame, and you can see that on the original frame we need to take some measurements so that we can position these. And we know the spacing of these three frames are the same, so really all we need to do is just take a measurement from here, from the very back of the frame to where this frame is, and we'll just make sure we place it in that same spot. So let's go ahead and we'll do a measurement. And always make sure that you're looking at your model square before you measure. And so from the edge of that down to the back of the frame, we know it's roughly about 3.3 feet. And we can zoom in on it and get a little bit more perfect, but I think that's pretty good right there. And let's make sure that, yes, so we're that's a pretty accurate measurement. So 3.32 feet from the back of this cross member to the end of the frame. So let's highlight the original frame, and we'll put our stretch frame back on. And now you can see that there's a big difference between the original frame and then our stretch frame. So what we'll do, we'll square up the frame, and then we'll take another measurement from the back of the frame, and we'll just go up 3.32 feet. And that's pretty close. So if we hide both frames, we can select, oops, get rid of that. Go back to selection, and we want to select these parts here to move. Now up here, these are your different, how you view these parts. And this one block here, if you put your mouse over it, it'll tell you it says toggle X-ray. Whenever you're copying parts, you want to make sure that that X-ray is on. And the reason why is because when you select it, it'll select all the way through the part, so you get the complete part. If you don't have the X-ray on, and let me show you. If you don't have the X-ray on and you try to select the parts, you see that there are black areas. These sections here didn't get copied, and so when you go to move them, they're going to get left behind, and you're going to have a mess. So that's kind of what happens if you try to copy a part that's not in X-ray. So let's undo that. Make sure our X-ray is turned on. And now we can select everything in that part. And as you can see, everything is selected. So if we grab it and we try to move it, everything moves with it. And that's what we want. Let's see. Okay, so this is our original frame. And the we have our frame part selected, and so even though we have our frame showing, we can just select the parts that we want to move. And remember, make sure that you got X-ray mode on. And then we'll turn back on our ruler. And remember, we want to come down to this 3.2 feet. So we'll grab it and we will move it in the Y direction. So we'll hit G and then Y. And now you can see that our green Y axis is lit. And we can just slide it straight back. And that's a little bit too far. And we'll just keep moving it until we get it into the right position. And just a little bit more. And remember to hit the shift if you want to move things real slow. There. Now let's move it a little bit more. That's close enough. All right, so now we have our frame. And we had an extra cross member that was supposed to be here. So we need to delete that cross member there. Because it's a lot harder to delete it now that we have all those other parts over it. So I forgot to delete it. So let's undo everything. All right. So now that we have undone everything, we need to get rid of this back cross. This is the same as the one that's on the back of the frame. So that was still measuring. Go to selection, select it. Now to delete it, all you have to do is hit X, and then always select delete vertices, so that will delete the whole piece. And now everything's deleted. So now we can move our parts again back to the original position. So we'll put our measuring tool back on, and we have to move it to pretty much this line here. So we'll hit GY, we'll move it down. We'll zoom in, GY again. We'll zoom in some more, GY, and then shift so it can move just ever so slightly. And there we have it. We'll move everything back. And then we can tab back into object mode. And now you can see that you've moved the cross pieces into the position on the stretch frame where they need to go. All right. Now let's look at this frame part here and make sure that these parts are where they need to be. Keep doing that. Go to selection. All right, and let's bring back up our original frame. And let's take a measurement to this cross brace here. So we put a measurement back on. We don't need that 3.32 feet no more, so to get rid of it, just put your cursor over it, highlight till it turns solid white, and then just hit X, and then it should go. There we go. All right, let's do another measurement from the rear of the frame. And we'll measure up to the cross brace. We'll zoom in. Make sure we get a good measurement. Okay, so we're looking at 5.66 feet for this frame here. So let's hide the original frame, and we'll put our stretch frame on. And we're looking for 5.66 feet. Or it don't have to be exact. But you want it to be fairly close. All right, and so we'll zoom in and make sure that all right, 5.66 feet. So now we can move these parts, and we want to hit G or grab and then move it. G and Y. G, then Y. And one more time, G, Y, and shift. And we want to lower it just a little bit. And that's about perfect. Now all these parts here, I'm going to leave alone until I get the tanks. And in order for us to place the tanks, we're going to have to place the cab on this frame. So I'll be uploading the cab model as soon as I get done making this video, and we can place the cab on the frame, and we can see about where we want to put our tanks, and then we can move Let me hide the frames here a second. We can move these individually. All these braces and these tank mounts, we can move all these individually. So we can put our tanks anywhere we want to, and then we'll just move the mounts to fit the tanks. Anyway, that's it for this video. Still more to come. We're still working on the frame. We'll have tanks. Tanks will be next. So I'll be including both those files, tank files and the cab files, on the Facebook page. And so you'll have those when I do the next video. Anyway, thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you like to follow this build. And thank you for all those that have subscribed to my videos. I wasn't blessed with the gift of the gab, and these are pretty hard for me. So I really do appreciate it, and makes creating these videos worthwhile. But anyway, I hope that you'll join me for the rest of the truck build, and I'll see you later. Thanks.